Here we are once again. It's the time of year where we celebrate all things scary and nasty. The time of year associated with the spooks, centred around the holiday of All Hallows Eve. And you can certainly skim through the animation catalogue to find plenty of animated cartoon specials centralised around the theme of good, scary, Halloween frightening stuff. There is one animated medium that has lent itself particularly well to the subjects of horror, and in its stylised way of bringing that animation to life, it has the unexpected effect of creating a weird aura of spooky, eerie unnaturalness to it. And this technique, you could argue, works better for this horror aspect by way of this third dimension rather than the second. Of course, I'm talking about the animated medium of stop motion frame by frame animation. Case in point, the Sandman from my last video on the subject of spooky animations. One of the things that worked so well in its creepy scary factor was its ballet-like performance of stop motion horror. But of course it would be ignorant for me to just concentrate on Paul Berry's The Sandman. Why, there's much more scary stop motion animations out there. Just take a gander at some of the works of the brothers Quay or even Jan Svankmajer for more stop motion animation eerie brilliance.
And these are just a few examples.
Yes, I know, thank you mystery voice. So yeah, there's been a fair few oddities of horror in the stop motion animation department. And yet there's a funny little one that's become a cult classic and British favourite from the 80s. And it came about during the clay animation, or rather in this case plasticine animation revolution, in the beginning years of stop motion animation on telly here in Old Blighty. Join me today, the Boo Artisan, as I shall be discussing the 1984 cult children's hit spooky cartoon, The TrapDoor. Before we begin, a little bit of history for you all here. Aardman Animation. Have you heard of that studio before? It is indeed a highly celebrated animation studio here in the UK, their most recent film being Early Man coming out in 2018, and as of this moment in reviewing in time, the new Shaun the Sheep movie Farmageddon coming out round about now. Now, any animation historian worth their salt could tell you about the history of Aardman, how it all began with this Genesis-like Adam of their very own, named Morph. He's a cheeky little clay chappy, as well as pretty funny and cute, and he always stole the show of Telly Lovely's Tony Hart's art TV programme Take Heart. Morph was always getting into all sorts of funny situations, and what he did was expand the viewer's conception of what stop motion is and can do with just a sprinkle of human imagination. Morph's clay animated world would expand upon the principles of a new fourth dimension, the dimension of clay, a dimension wherein this dull, mundane substance in your hand can be sculpted and twisted, rearranging its very particles, which would in turn open up new worlds of funny, humorous situations that one had not perceived with clay before. Morph would usually be able to make children laugh gleefully with delight and adults chuckle at the slapstick humour presented to them. Due to this breath of life that was bestowed to Morph by the conjoined imaginations of Peter Lord and David Sproxton, their talents in the stop motion animation world would gain not only a new respect but as well a new look at this dimension of clay, where the possibilities are unlimited. A new revolution had begun in the world of stop motion, a claymation animated revolution. Morph had ignited the torch of inspiration that would draw many aspiring animators like moths to this new revolutionary flame, making many others say, gee, that looks like fun, I want to try, and this new era of messy, imaginative, fun, playful world of clay flourished. And then the advent of experimenting with plasticine in this medium too would spawn in this new dawn of stop motion animation. And one cartoon series in particular would certainly embrace this wonderful world of plasticine that was begat from this era.
Cause there's something down there.
Berk, are you fiddling about with that trapdoor?
Oh, no, sir. Certainly not, sir. No, as if I would.
Don't.
The TrapDoor was created by the late great Terry Brain and still active Charlie Mills, whom created their own animation studio, CMTB Mills, though they were referred to as Animation Studio Brainbox Mills. The TrapDoor ran for 2 series and consisted of a grand total of 40 short and sweet episodes that had a runtime of approximately between 3 to 5 minutes each. So what was the premises of the TrapDoor? The opening narrator paints a pretty perfect picture for you.
Somewhere in the dark and nasty regions where nobody goes stands an ancient castle.
You're then introduced to the lovable big blue Berk,
Hello!
the scary ass thing upstairs,
Feed me!
and then you get the TrapDoor.
You're a fool if you dare. Stay away from that trapdoor. 'Cause there's something down there.
As where this castle lies, it's built on a hellmouth, and the trapdoor itself is all but sealed if it wasn't for Berk's constant curiosity.
I wouldn't do that. Worms. We got a recipe for that. Hello?
Not forgetting there's also Berk's mate Boni,
Back, old chap. You've left the trapdoor open.
and the lovable spider Drut, who sounds a lot like a Terry Gillingham animation fart.
What's up, Drut?
Although, as lovable as Berk is, he does have a bit of a sailor's mouth about him.
Grumfuttix. Globbits. Globbits. Globbits.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
If you've got a problem, stuff a worm in it.
Just as the opening narrator stated, Berk is in service to the thing upstairs. Who's the thing upstairs? Why, he's the seldom seen cockney-mouthed, frightening monster master of the castle, who we do actually get a glimpse of in one episode. But that does not paint a pretty picture.
Won't be long now, sire.
It's Berk's role in life to serve his master's breakfast, lunch and dinner from his dungeon cum kitchen, his dungeon. But of course, having the cooking quarters so close to the trapdoor, Berk is often warned not to open it by him upstairs, as well as his good mate Boni.
Berk left the trapdoor open.
Berk and many of the other characters like Boni as well as him upstairs are all performed by the same wonderful voice actor, Willie Rushton. He does such a marvellous performance that you can taste a different flavour with each character. You have the Bristolian Berk,
What a stink. It's worse than him upstairs feet.
the Cockney him upstairs,
Berk, hurry up! I can't see properly without all my eyes in.
and of course the lovely thespian-like Boni.
And he's giving me a headache. Don't be so rough. Oh.
Willie Rushton's Bristolian attributes to Berk makes Berk a friendly sounding guy.
It's bonking time. I loves a bit of bonking. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can't remember the rest. Oh. 12.
However, he can lend a dramatic tone to Berk, as he does indeed make him upstairs' bedroom rather foreboding.
Oh no. It's been and gone into his bedroom.
Ooh, now there's a place you don't want to visit. Although the thing upstairs likes to refer to it as his.
What are you doing all in my boudoir, you dozy great blue lump?
Well, you're going back down that trapdoor, you little grot.
Every time something popped out the trapdoor, it was always Berk's duty to try and catch that monster of the day. Though there is a small collection of these colourful critters that revelled in the mischief and mayhem they caused, each one a different little devil of their own making. Some big, some small, some more menacing than the others. There was a few regular monsters that emerged from the trapdoor too. Rogg, for one, the big, thick and dim-witted pink monster who would often pop up for a visit.
Hello. I like fishing. Mind if I join you?
Some monsters, on the other hand, were big bullies that had me scared for poor Boni and Drut.
Might you be, you horrible little things?
Well, I'm Boni, and you're a grot, and his little family.
But Berk's always there, like the guardian angel he is, to put these silly monsters in place.
Oi, what's going on here? Oh!
Just call me the Splund.
Oh, the Splund. Well, call me the Splund Popper.
Making you feel always relieved that Berk's on the scene to sort 'em out. Another wonderful thing about Berk is just how darn friendly and warm he is for a big blue plasticine man, monster kind of thing. He's all sorts of cuddly, and every episode you feel like you've walked in on Berk getting food ready for him upstairs.
Berk, where's my breakfast?
And it's all like, oh well, make yourselves at home, grab a cup of tea and put your feet up while I sort Muggins upstairs out.
I told you once, I told you.
And the relationship between Boni and Berk is kind of like that of a nagging wife. They've got that old married couple dynamic. They mumble and grumble and moan at each other all the time, but they do like each other, really.
And you can shut up as well. You've done nothing but moan ever since we first. All I wanted was a nice afternoon's fishing. I wish I'd never bothered now.
Terry Brain and Charlie Mills did a wonderful job elaborating on this scary world wherein the TrapDoor is set. They didn't just limit Berk's adventures in his kitchen cum dungeon, but they showcased the outer grounds of the castle and its vastly grand architecture as well. When I was younger, I used to think that the castle interior was made up of different coloured Smarties for its bricks. There's a lot of love, hard work and effort gone into the making of the TrapDoor. Terry Bryan and Charlie Mills did a stand-up job of producing the show. By using plasticine for these monsters, they created a cabinet of curiosities, as it were, and pull out a random monster and go, which one shall we use today? Terry Bryan and Charlie Mills also found some great animation workarounds too. While walk cycles are notoriously difficult and time consuming in the animation industry, they found a clever way to get around this to save on production time. You see, Berk's big blue egg-shaped body waddles around the screen with just his feet rotating. That way they can just have his body stuck to the centre of the stage, then just rotate his feet in motion to make it look like he's walking across the scene. I'm personally fond of the method they used to apply lip syncing. You see, they never made an actual script for each episode, they just storyboarded it and had cut out mouthpieces for Berk. You see, these simple cut out mouth shapes of basic pronunciations of words allowed Willie Rushton to ad-lib the recording and make it up on the spot.
That horrible little thing came squirting out of the trapdoor. I'm gonna nail that trapdoor shut one of these days.
With such a genius concept for a children's show, there was plenty of imaginative material to work with within the trapdoor's run. You had episodes based around Berk finding his master's one of many eyeballs.
That's not where it goes.
Oh, well, keep still, sire. Stop it. Oh dear. I think Berk has dropped him upstairs his eyeball. Oh no, it's gone downstairs. Oh dear, it's gone down the trapdoor.
There we get a rare glimpse as to what the trapdoor dimension looks like down there. I'm going to give you a clue. It ain't pretty.
Globbits, what a globbiting day. Now I'm down the trapdoor where all them horrible weirdo things live. Including big honkers like him. Oh well, I suppose I'd better go and look for old Fatty's eyeball.
Another fun one is when Berk discovers a radio and tunes in just in time for a full broadcast by Zygot of the brilliant full theme tune of the TrapDoor.
It's a radio! Never had one before. Wonder if I can get it working. Ooh.
Hello, children.
It spoke.
Want to hear a nice bedtime story?
I like this.
Now, you probably might remember in one of my previous videos, Top 10 Cartoon Catchiest Intros, that the TrapDoor was one of my favourite Cartoon Catchiest intro themes. And so, as you can hear why, I'll play the full animated video for you now, because it's balls to the walls, banging.
Come on, Boni. If you had a body, you could boogie.
Creepy, crawly, slimy things that stick on to your skin. Horrid beasts with tentacles that want to pull you in. Wormy worms, slugs, and snails that lie there in a goo. They'll wait down there forever till they get their hands on you. Open that trapdoor! You're a fool if you dare! Stay away from that trapdoor!
my word, I speak the truth. There's an evil behind that door.
You take the plunge into that gun. We won't see you no more. You're a fool to try. You'll be saying bye.
Something down there.
Berk, what's all that noise?
Oh, Globbits. Nothing, old Plumptitude, just tidying up.
I liked the music.
Well, I didn't. It's given me a headache. Well, we liked it, didn't we, Rogg? I wonder if they'll play it again.
Yeah.
I bloody love the Trapdoor theme song, me. Also, is it me, or does this song sound like something that Alice Cooper would sing?
Wanna hear a nice bedtime story?
I've mentioned before, but there wasn't exactly an overarching plot to the trapdoor, as Berk would open the trapdoor for a laugh, some critter comes out, causes mayhem, Boni has a moany, and Drut druts his stuff. But in the final penultimate episode of the series, it all ended rather sad, and in a way, I kind of feel it's a homage to Michael Jackson's Thriller. You see, one of the monster regulars, the big red monster, pops out and causes deliberate havoc for no real reason whatsoever, and Rogg, the other monster regular, comes out and gets a walloping from him, so he goes off to have a showdown with this big red bugger.
I'm angry. Really cross.
Oh, good. Old Rogg's gonna sort him out.
I think we'd better go as well, Berk, to make sure he doesn't get hurt.
And, well, it didn't end quite well.
No, Berk.
But what's the matter with him?
He won't move. I'm afraid he's gone.
Oh, poor brave Rogg.
Yes, the trapdoor delves into the topic of death in a children's show. Well, they've done it respectfully.
We'll all miss him, Berk.
Goodbye, Rogg.
The credits roll for one final time, but then we cut back and it turns out Rogg's okay, hooray!
It's Rogg! He's alive! You great pink what's-it, you scared the life out of me!
But then it just ends like this.
Whatever happened to that big red thing then?
Don't know.
Blah! But yeah, I can see that being quite traumatic to a few kiddie winks back in the day. The Trapdoor wouldn't be the only animated production to come from Terry Brain and Charlie Mills. They would also make Stop It and Tidy Up, another children's telly series. And looking back on that now, wow, it makes so much sense once you have that connection between the two. The two would also try to get a stop motion movie made called The Pudding, but alas, it never came to fruition. It was supposed to be a Christmas themed plasticine animation that looked in its initial development very similar to that of the Trapdoor, but on a much grander scale. However, Terry Bryan did in fact go on to work for Aardman for the rest of his animation career. No surprises there. The Trapdoor is a true celebration of that era of stop motion animation where the models weren't always so pristine and you could still see thumbprints on the models used in stop motion rather than everything being stylized and cleaned up. It embraced that gooey, messy era of the plasticine world. It was gross, mucky, dirty and messy, and it revelled in it, like stop motion animation clay stuff did back in the day. It was a messy affair and added a new texture to the stop motion animation field. It was like a primordial ooze that you could control and adapt to on the screen. You just don't get that with modern stop motion animation nowadays. wherein computers can easily imitate the charming style of stop motion clay animation and output it in double quick time that renders the traditional method of stop motion animation obsolete. But by doing so you lose that feeling of organic composition that the plasticine and clay gives you by being able to sculpt it in your hand, by having this material to sculpt and show to the audience and say, look at this goopy stuff, I'm God and I can make anything! And again, that's something that's been stripped from us nowadays, as computers, which are an aid to animation, have come too far and completely taken that aesthetic away from us. So there's no mess, it's all clean, easy to produce, and you sort of lose what it's like to play with clay, or plasticine in this case. Oh well, I digress. TrapDoor is one of the best eras of traditional stop motion animation to come about, and it's fun and enjoyable and even at times a little scary, but in all, it's a total celebration of the imagination and is indeed an animation that stands above the test of time and will be remembered fondly for years to come. Thanks, Berk. Hi, and thanks for watching this year's Halloween special. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and share to others so they can enjoy it too. If you're new to the channel, then please subscribe for new videos and updates. Don't forget you can follow my Twitter and Facebook page here too. Until next time, I'll see you then.